Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for Empowerment Today. My name is Latifah Abdullah. I am your host for today, and our guest today is Kelley. Kari is an author, a published author, and a speaker. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kari.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am just enthralled with you and your story. I just think I admire your courage. And so I really wanted to have you on today. And I think, when we talk about different issues, a lot of issues that are normally swept under the carpet or people that they don't really address them, then other people suffer because I think sometimes people feel like they're the only ones that have gone through something. And so I think it's really important for us to get things out in the open so that people can heal.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
So you have, we want to mention your book, and so you're a published author. Tell us the name of your book.
The name of my book is Black, Blind, and Female.
Okay. So we had an opportunity to talk a little bit, and just the different things that you've come through. Like I said, I really admire your courage, and I'd like you to share your story today, and then we'll delve into some things that people can do if they've had similar experiences, so that they can begin their healing process. So share just a little bit about your journey. I know that so you were adopted, and even pre-adoption, how you the trauma, your natural mom experienced some trauma and actually bringing you to us. So give us a little background.
Okay, so my story starts with my birth mother being raped at gunpoint. And the experience was not only traumatic for her, but she had two other little girls that witnessed this event. So when she decided to carry me to term, she knew that she was going to place me in foster care and give me the opportunity to be with another family that wouldn't have to deal with that kind of trauma, looking at me, as I grew and everything. So she carried me to term, and when I was 3 days old, she left me in the care of social services, and I was in foster care up until I was 9 months old. And at that point, I began the adoption process with a family of mom, dad, and a sibling, a 5-year-old sibling. However, my new mother felt that I didn't like her because every time she come near me, I would cry. So her solution was to be abusive and hit me. And when I was about 14 months old, one day she was shaking me, and she bumped my head while she was shaking me. And for a week and a half, there was no medical attention for me. So I ended up hospitalized, and they found evidence of the abuse. So I was removed from that family and returned to foster care until I was 4 years old. And now that I'm 4 years old, I have been declared legally blind or visually impaired from the injuries that happened earlier in life. So I got adopted into a new family, and it was a family full of abuse on every level: physical, mental, emotional, and sexual, from multiple family members. And basically, what I have come to realize over the course of my healing from all of that abuse is, number one, it's very important to tell the story. And because when you put words to the actions that shame you, the shame it doesn't have the same hold over you. because you're not spending so much time and energy trying to keep it uh, in the shadows and
Yeah.
in the secret areas.
Right, right. How long did it take you? So, at what age were you able to tell someone and actually have someone really listen and maybe if there was any help to be offered at that point, offer help? Or let's start at when were you first able to verbalize?
Well, the thing about my situation was it wasn't exactly unknown that things were going on. Some of it was very blatant, and because especially sexual abuse is and can be generational,
Mm-hmm.
um, people kind of know or they suspect, or it's a blatant situation. Like, for example, in my case, my mother actually heard her husband, and she called other family members to discuss it. And they discussed it as if it was like gossip or so to speak. It wasn't a discussion where they wanted to put a stop to it. It was more like just one more thing to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And, my mother was physically abusive. She actually knocked me to the ground in a church full of, the congregation was there, the pastor was there, everybody was there. They saw her do that. So it wasn't like um, it was a secret for me to hold on to. What was going on for me was because I was adopted,
Yes.
I assumed that that was supposed to happen because I wasn't the flesh and blood of the family that I was adopted into.
Wow.
So it never occurred to me that I could be treated any differently or any better by my family
Mm-hmm.
or by people that were connected to my family
Mm-hmm.
because of, I mean, my mother actually told me that I should be grateful that I was adopted at all because I was this half-blind, nappy-headed, ugly, stupid child that nobody else would have wanted.
Wow.
So
So
with that, with
tell me this then. Okay, so you were talking about abuse on a number of levels. So how did you with the verbal abuse because that's um, yeah. So even with the verbal abuse, how were you able to come to a point where you believe something else? Did you believe what she said, or did you have to go through a process to not believe or to unlearn what had been spoken over you?
honestly, when it comes to my worth, my value, I have patience in the mirror and say and remind myself that I am whole, complete, and perfect,
Mm,
and that God created a perfect vessel,
mm,
and that I am here for a purpose.
mm-hmm,
So, I am what I'm supposed to be.
okay.
Um, it has been a long journey, and I think, for lack of a better way to put it, divine intervention
Mm-hmm,
is what has really helped sustain that one little spark of strength that has always been there.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
For example, being shaken and beaten at 14 months old,
yeah.
I think my creator gave me an extra hard head and my body's just a little bit stronger and sturdier,
Mm-hmm,
and all of that translates into my spirit so that I didn't actually cross all of the lines that
mm-hmm,
are statistics will say
mm-hmm,
I was supposed to be.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Give me an example. So, what do the statistics say?
Okay, for example, when you grow up in a sexually abusive environment as a child, chances are you end up either being very promiscuous or in the life of prostitution
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
by multiple partners, or you can go the other direction where you are very, very rigid and intimacy is impossible,
Mhm.
or you could be attracted to same sex because of your
Mhm.
experiences
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
uh, the abuse.
Right. Okay.
Now, while I dabbled in all of that,
Mhm.
I didn't end up with the lifestyle of it. Break or invisible line that I could never cross.
Mhm.
So that's why I say it was divine intervention, because I did all of the things that statistics say
Mhm.
somebody with my background would do.
Mhm.
And the other miraculous piece of this is that I have a beautiful marriage,
Wow.
and intimacy is not a problem for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Wow.
and that has to do with choice. I know that everything that I do
Mhm.
intimately is my choice. I'm not being forced or manipulated into any of it.
Right. Right. So tell me, how did you begin the healing process? At what age were you able to kind of look at everything and begin your healing process? And it may still be ongoing, but when did you start?
Well, it's ongoing, and it has always been ongoing. There was always a breaking point. Some incident would happen, and I remember waking up in the morning going, okay, I'm done dealing with this. This is going behind me, and I'm never going to deal with that again.
Mhm.
But I think the very biggest piece of my healing process happened in 2010, when I traveled to Sedona, Arizona with a friend of mine who was um, terminally ill.
Mhm.
And we visited some energy healers and people that are able to communicate with people on the other side of the veil. And my mother, the one that adopted me at 4 years old, who said that I was this ugly, stupid child that nobody else wanted, had passed away when I was 13.
Mhm.
And so fast forward to 2010, I'm sitting with an energy healer, and she says that my mother is asking for forgiveness
Mhm.
for all of the hurt feelings and all of the abuse that she exposed me to, allowed to happen, and that she did to me.
Mhm.
And so from that trip, I started journaling and talking to her and writing to her and getting all these feelings out
Mhm.
of anger and bitterness, and it turned into my book, Black, Blind, and Female.
Wow. Mhm.
And uh, that was the day that was the point where I can say I really stepped into my story is to be told so that other people can see they are not alone in what they go through,
Mhm.
and that there is healing and a light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm.
So I was very, I, that was the beginning of me stepping into this work.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I think it's really important that you operate or live life victoriously and as a victor as opposed to a victim, because it seems like that you're kind of um, people that live as victims. You're kind of like punishing yourself all over again, you know. Um, but of course, I can't speak to this subject specifically. But I'm just saying in general, when people operate as live as victims,
Yes.
I'd like you to tell us about your one woman show and how that helps people, what you do, and how that helps.
So my one woman show was a vehicle for me to take people into the experience of the abuse
Mhm.
for me at different ages,
Mhm.
and to give them an experience of how a child's innocence can be twisted,
Mhm.
and how people can use the innocence of a child to make that child an accomplice in the process. And then I also gave characteristics to different mindsets,
Mm.
including one that I named the destroyer.
Mm.
The destroyer's mindset is all about its job is to steal, kill, and destroy the innocence of a child.
Mm.
And it has co-conspirators or, friends that
Mm-hmm.
make it possible to do that work for the destroyer.
Mm.
One of their friends is denial.
Mm-hmm.
One of their friends is secrecy. And one of their friends is the fear of, I can't stop this because if I rock the boat, my, well-being is going to be in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I also gave depression a voice. I also gave anger a voice, but the finale was the resilient spirit, the voice of a resilient spirit that can overcome all of that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and look at all of that from a space of everything that you went through makes you who you are today and gives you the tools and the heart of compassion to help those who need your help.
Well, tell me about, I'd like you to address a couple things. So one is a predator. So for parents, what should they be looking out for when it comes to predators?
Okay, so one of the things that predators will do is they will find a child who has low self-esteem and begin to make that child feel valuable.
Mm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And enough, stretching that child outside of their comfort zone. And that will show up in certain ways in that child.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for me, I was not always, you know, I couldn't be acting out like behaviorally, but my head was down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't look at people, I was very just not worthy. I felt very unworthy. And when a child is like that, that's like prime target for for a predator.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, sometimes the predators are in a position of power,
Mm-hmm.
and so you know, I just don't believe that a predator can operate without accomplices. If you want to know.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
just it's an awareness that when you pay attention to the um, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a feeling that you get around certain people, or that you just feel protective, especially as women have women's intuition
Mm-hmm.
that kind of gives you signals about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's important to pay attention to that, even if you can't say why you don't feel comfortable around a certain person.
Yes.
You just know that there's just something about them that doesn't feel good to you. Listen to that and
Mm-hmm.
stay away from that person. I mean, that's just as simple as I can make it.
Right, right. And that makes a lot of sense. And sometimes we're looking at what we see, and like you said, sometimes that people are in a position of power, and so you're thinking, well, that, they couldn't be like that. But if you're paying attention to the inner feeling as opposed to what you see, like with your physical eye, then, I think you're right to go with the gut as opposed to, what the person is portraying outwardly. I wanted to ask you, who were some of the people in your support, in your coming through the different things? So who were some of the people that helped, the organizations or individuals that you were able to maybe talk to as you came through the different healing processes? Were you able to talk to anyone eventually?
Well, all throughout my life, there was always like somebody in my life that made me feel safe.
Okay.
And like for the person that comes to mind right now is my godmother, because she was there for my entire life from when I was adopted at 4,
Mm-hmm.
and she just made me feel special. She
Mm-hmm.
made me feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she was also, you know, one of the people that saw how my mother treated me and felt powerless
Mm. Okay. Okay.
because she was young, she was a young woman,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother was a lot older, and just, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there was this one piece. So I was able to talk to my godmother
Mm-hmm.
like before she transitioned last year. And I was able to share with a lot of the things that, I didn't understand as a child. And she was able to like really let me know that she did see,
Mm-hmm.
and she just didn't know how to handle.
Mm-hmm.
Other people, like I had certain teachers that were
Mm-hmm.
um, always like, there was this one lady who we would do my schoolwork, and she, like, because I'm legally blind, sometimes things had to be like a test had to be given orally. Like, she would read me the questions, and then I would give her the answer. She would write it down, and when I would give her the right answer, she would say things like, "Oh, clever child. Oh, you're so smart."
Mm-hmm.
And like, to me, at that age, I was like, 8, 9, 10. Those were special moments because most of the time people were calling me stupid, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what was special.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What kind of tea you have today?
This is lemon and honey because the pollen is like really strong over here where I live.
Okay. Okay.
All these people planting flowers and stuff, and my allergies are like, ooh.
So, I wanted to ask you, okay, so you said your godmother, your teacher, um, so, and you said some things happened in the church. Were they all bad, or did you have any support at the church, or?
Well, the kind of support I got from the church was because I was able to sing.
Mm,
And so once I this voice came out of me one day.
mm-hmm,
And it's so funny because I wasn't doing anything quote unquote special. I was just making the same sounds like what I heard everybody other people singing doing,
mm-hmm,
you know. And I was chosen to lead a song,
mm-hmm,
and I just sang it like I heard it on the radio.
mm-hmm.
And everybody like got this surprised look, and they were all, and I grew up in the Pentecostal church or holiness church, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very
Yeah,
know,
right.
people, they like that was like new for me. I was like, ooh, I get this if I can sing. So I got in the choir every time, there was a
Opportunity.
special choir, anything that I could do to start singing, that's it. So, and it transferred um, from church to school programs to community talent shows, and I was just singing. I was just a singing fool.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. So tell us, what is it that people can do if their child has experienced some type of molestation or improper behavior. So whether it's their child or someone that they know, what is it, and what if it's so two things, the parent or the adult or the person the person that has experienced it. Is it, do people always believe, like if a little child is saying this is what happened? So give us the point of view from the adult and then also a child.
Okay. What I would say is to encourage anybody, an adult or a child, find someone that believes you
Mm-hmm.
and will help you.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep talking, because the good news about nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
it's not the same. I mean, it has some room to grow,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
it has come a long way from people not talking about it, or not wanting to get some help or deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So just find somebody that will believe you
Mm-hmm.
and support you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you run into somebody who doesn't believe you, don't stop there. Keep going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that is the person that is being violated, that has been violated. So what about the adult that a child might come to? So give us how the adult should handle that. If a child is coming saying that they've been violated, tell us how the adult should respond.
First of all, validate the child.
Mm.
Validate that child and say, get that child to talk to you about what happened. Stay compassionate and neutral and not let emotions get involved, because one of the things that children fear is that this adult, or they're going to hurt their feelings, or they're going to cause them a level of anger that will make the situation worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can stay neutral and compassionate about what happened to the child,
Mm-hmm.
and then find the resources to get the problem handled.
Yep.
And that's not an easy answer. It's not easy because, the resources like child protective services and, getting the legal system involved in everything, I'm not going to say, oh, that's easy. It's not. You have to have a level of courage and boldness to do what needs doing.
Mm.
Period. And no excuses, no hand wringing and foot shifting.
Mm-hmm.
Just do what needs to be done to get that child out of harm's way.
Mm. Good. Oh, I like that. You just do what needs to be done. And then also I wanted to offer, there is an organization, if you're an adult and you've experienced either sexual abuse or domestic violence, there is an organization by the name of the Zoe Project. And you should reach out. Reach out. If you're dealing with that, you should reach out to the Zoe Project. And that number is 1-844 the number 4 enough. Again, that's 1-844 the number 4 enough. ENOUGH. And that's the Zoe Project. So I know that you're having a little thing with your voice today. Would you like to give us a little something? In the way.
Sure. I think I found what I call a safe song.
Okay.
And that's one of those songs where you can sing it to the degree that it's not going to, like, I don't have to hit a lot of high notes and work too hard. So I'll give you a little piece of God Bless the Child.
Okay.
So let me, now, this is going to be interesting because I've never done this on a Skype recording before.
Well, we're going with, I am a recovering perfectionist, so I'm letting everything that's not perfect, like, not bother me. So
Okay. Okay. Well, if it doesn't bother you, then it won't bother me. Okay, let me see. Okay. Them that's got shall get, them that's I shall lose. For the Bible says, yet it still is news. Mama may have, and Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got her own. Got her oh yeah. The strong get more while the weak ones fade. Empty pockets never seem to make the grade. Mama may have, and Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got her own, that's got her own. With money you got lots and lots and lots of friends crowding around your door. But when it's all gone and the spending ends, they don't come around anymore. Oh no, your rich relations will give a crust of bread and such. You can help yourself, but darling, don't you take too much, 'cause Mama may have and Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got her own, that's got her own.
Go ahead, girl. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. That is such a wonderful gift. Thank you so much for sharing with us today, Miss Kari Kelley. And is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, basically, I would just like to point out that this has been a beautiful experience for me, and I'm so happy for venues like this that reach out and want to hear from. I call myself the resilient, the picture of resilience. I'm an example of what resilience looks like. Because I think I'm past the whole, oh, I'm an abuse survivor. I mean, not that that's a bad thing. It is what it is for people. But I just believe that people need to see what resilience can look like. And that's what I'm here to do. And any venue that will reach out to give me this opportunity to share and to share all of my gifts. I mean, we talked about my book. You got to, you let me sing on your show. So, I got to do everything I wanted to do. So I'm really excited, and thank you so much.
Oh, girl, you're welcome. So thank you. I really appreciate you and your resilience, and thank you so much for sharing. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.